Happy Wednesday. I am here. If you are here, just say hi. So I'll see you pop up in the comments. And yeah, woo. It's always. But I made it. I made it after 2 weeks of not being here. I made it. I'm here. New bottle of wine. Yeah, all that. Man, I feel like I just ran a 7-minute mile, and I know I can't do that. I mean, hi, Angel. Glad to see you on. Yeah, if you know me, you know I can't run a 7-minute mile. So that would explain, how out of breath I am right now. But I'm here. I'm just gonna get started with the wine because I feel like I do need this drink. Ooh, this 12.5%. It's from Italy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's how I'm feeling right now. I'm like, okay, feeling a little fiery. So that's where I'm going. But yeah, I'm here. This is a white wine. I bought this wine for a friend of mine as well. Her baby turned 1, and I really feel like we need to start, celebrating moms too when kids, have milestone birthdays as well, or even just, any time, because moms had to endure carrying that baby, and she survived that first year. Y'all don't understand. My goodness, I hate twist tops on wines. I feel like I have this complaint frequently, but I am struggling. It don't help that, look at this. The whole thing is turning. Wait, I feel like, nope, it's not happening. I'm gonna get this open. Or I'm just gonna sit here and struggle. Man. Seven-minute mile. Nope, can't do it. Okay, open. My goodness, I hope this is good because I bought this for my friend and I hope she liked it. Her baby is now climbing on the couch on his own. My goodness, I'm like, he needs to slow down, but he is the sweetest little guy. Oh, it smells fruity. It smells really fruity. It smells really good. So this was produced in Italy, of course, and it has refreshing notes of jasmine, mango, and melon. That's why it smells fruity. Yeah, it smells really good. I hope it's not overly sweet because I don't do well with sweet. Got some good legs. Let's see. I'm surprised. The way it smells and the way it tastes are completely different things. It's not bad at all. It's a little tart, a little dry, but it's good. Okay, so I'll finish this glass. I'll definitely finish this glass. Yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks. Went on a little trip. What was it? 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I went on a trip. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw where I was, and it was a really good time. It was my first time there, and I had a ball. Like, I'm really excited to go back, looking forward to going back sooner than later, and definitely would 10 out of 10 recommend anyone that likes being outdoors, things like that, to go. So if you have not been to Mammoth, you should definitely go. But I'm like really excited because it was such a great experience for me, uh, as well as my son because he was there as well. And yeah. um, I've been working like a crazy person, which is good. It's not a complaint. I've been working like a crazy person, and I've been enjoying every minute of it because people like me. So that's a good thing. Um, I was my baby started school, so I'm very excited about that, but sad at the same time because another year of life is in the books for school. And I know people are like, but you've already been there before. I'm like, yeah, but this is the last time I'm gonna have these first days of school, last days of school, summers, things like that. So it is a little extra emotional for me. I've noticed that, going through it. So it's bittersweet. I'm excited, but I'm sad all at the same time. But I'll get through it. I do it all the time. But man, it's been 2 weeks. This is crazy. I was kind of anxious about tonight because it's been so long, and it's crazy. That's why you got to stay consistent. Even, it's just like working out. If you don't do it, you don't see no results. So doing this and then not doing it, it just feels, I don't know, I guess odd that, I hadn't been doing it and I missed it. But, I'm here. But I was in Target. So I was telling my daughter this story. I was in Target the other day getting some school supplies. And not that I need it because I use my calendar on my phone because my little brain, I have to do it exactly when stuff happens or something is planned because I will forget. And then when I remind it, it's like, oh shoot. And sometimes I've double booked and I hate that. That drives me absolutely crazy when I do that. But I was in there buying school supplies and this little baby caught my attention and I was like, oh my God, how cute are you? And I picked it up and I opened up the flap. Now, this is the reason I bought it. There's a whole sticker in there that says wine night. Like I can't just put that on my calendar, but it was so cute. And everyone knows how I feel about wine, so it had to come home with me. But yeah, that was my little cute story on my Target run. Hey Megan, happy Wednesday. I hope you have a drink and you are doing good today. It's Wednesday, we should all be feeling free and happy and all that good stuff. But it's been, yeah. It's been, yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. But I am going to get into it. Again, like I said, I've been using my MacBook a lot more lately too because I pay for it. So I might as well use it, one. And two, I do love my notes function. Not yet. I'm about to. Good. Have you a drink, girl? It is Wednesday. We wine on Wednesdays. Hey, sis. We wind down on Wednesdays and yeah. Salud, everyone. Let go of the day and just have a good time. I have to remember to tell myself to let go of the day as well because yeah, the days be getting to me and I be like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So no more whining, no more crying. It is what it is. But yeah, on to the topic. I'm changing the names and the context of the situations because, again, we're talking about emotional intelligence and you got part of that is me being emotionally intelligent, but got two friends, Mia and Jasmine. Mia has had some issues with Jasmine being a little selfish when it comes to their friendship. And they finally hit ahead when they had plans to go work out together. And Mia wasn't able to make it at that time. She had a little bit of a delay, and Jasmine went without her. And hi, Naya. I'm glad you're here. Hope you got a drink. Not water. But Jasmine decided to go without Mia. And Mia finally got fed up with Jasmine's pattern of doing this, and she finally told her how she felt. And Jasmine kind of brushed it off like, well, it's no big deal. You can meet up with me when you're done, which was not the whole point of the situation. And it's something that continuously happens. And when it's done to her, you know, she doesn't feel like it's a situation, which, you know, hence brought me to the whole thing of, are we as emotionally intelligent as we think we are? We all like to think that we know how to, I guess, handle our own emotions, and we know what we want, but are we able to understand the emotions of the people that are around us? And some can say yes, and sometimes we can, but we're selfish and we don't. But it's one of those. So I went and did my due diligence like always, because I'm a numbers person. I do like statistics, things like that. So of course I had to go look it up. So the signs of emotional intelligence, they say, are an ability to identify and describe what people were feeling, an awareness of personal strengths and limitations, self-confidence and self-acceptance, the ability to let go of mistakes. Oh, I suffer with that one, so I might still have some growing to do in that department. An ability to accept and embrace change, a strong sense of curiosity, particularly about other people, feelings of empathy and concern for others. Oh my gosh, that one is a big one for me. Like, sometimes I'm empathetic to a point where it's just like, get it together. You suck right now. It's like, it doesn't make no sense to be this damn concerned with others. Showing sensitivity to the feelings of other people, accepting responsibility for mistakes, and the ability to manage emotions in difficult situations. I still say I have some growing to do in that area, because I can do it for a while and then eventually it's just like, okay, what's going on here? They say you can measure emotional intelligence by testing. And my therapist was talking about that. She was saying there are tests that you can take to, you know, where they ask you a series of questions and it'll kind of tell you where your emotional intelligence is. But I feel like some of it is common sense. And then some people do lack the ability to understand a principle of situations. So I guess in that part, it's just, you know, and I hate that whole statement of, oh, people are who they are, because there's so many things out there where, whether that's who you are, there's always room to grow. It doesn't matter what age you're at. There's always room for improvement. So I don't know. I don't like that whole, that's who I am. It's a bit of a cop out to me, but I don't know. People use it frequently, so I won't downplay anyone's feelings on themselves. But there are 4 components of emotional intelligence. Perceiving emotions. The first step in understanding emotions is to perceive them accurately. In many cases, this might involve understanding nonverbal signals such as body language and facial expressions. I suck with that one. Man, I'm just saying, I suck with that one, like in the worst way, because what my mouth won't say, my face does give away big time. Like, and I can't say I'm working on my face, but I need to work on that a lot better, because I have no poker face. It's just like, it does show. So I need to work on that a little bit more. But My face will say what my mouth won't say sometime, and that's a big deal to me. So I think a lot of people can resonate with that one. Reasoning with emotions. The next step involves using emotions to promote thinking and cognitive activity. Emotions help prioritize what we pay attention and react to. We respond emotionally to things that garner our attention. That one, yeah, I agree, because there are things that you can let go. You're just like, it's no big deal, I can let it go. And then there are things where, as I like to call them, triggers, which is something I talk about in therapy on a regular basis. So it's one of those where it's just like, how are you responding to this? And like I said in another episode, if something is big enough to where it eventually, comes back, like if I can't let it go, or I think I've let it go and it, boom, I'm triggered, and now it's something that does need to be addressed. There are times where I think I've let stuff go, and then something will happen and it'll come up again. And it's like, well, I guess I didn't let it go. So maybe it was a bigger deal than I thought it was. So I guess you just have to pay attention to how things are affecting you and how you deal with it. Uh, Understanding your emotions. That's a good one. So here's what they're saying about that. The emotions that we perceive can carry a wide range of meanings. If someone is expressing angry emotions, the observer must interpret the cause of the person's anger and what it could mean. For example, if your boss is acting angry, it might mean that they are dissatisfied with your work, or it could be because they got a speeding ticket on their way to work that morning and they've been fighting with their partner. Yeah, you gotta leave that at home. If you fighting with your partner, that's a you problem. Don't bring that to work, and don't take it out on me, because I'm not your partner and you're not about to sit here and tell me all the things that you want to tell your partner and you just didn't. I did. Oh, that's funny. I was working at a company where this lady, she was a bitch at work, like a complete bitch at work, but she wasn't like that with her husband. And then when we found out that the way that she was dealing with us is how she really wanted to deal with him, but she didn't take it out on him, it was just like, well, that's kind of messed up. Maybe you need to learn to communicate with him, but because he was, I guess, strong worded towards her, I'm gonna use, she didn't want to rock the boat. And I just thought that was a bit inconsiderate, because it's like, why are you taking it out on us? And eventually it just got to the point where I'd be like, well, if you need something from me, you email me, and that way when you try and say X, Y, and Z, I can have my paper trail of what's really going on. But I wouldn't verbally talk to her because this lady was a bit of an asshole. Managing emotions. This is the fourth one. The ability to manage emotions effectively is a crucial part of emotional intelligence and the highest level. Regulating emotions and responding appropriately, as well as responding to the emotions of others, are all important aspects of emotional management. That is the most important one, and that's the one I probably need to work on the most. And my face. Yeah. So see, there's always room to grow, and sometimes you don't know what you need to work on till you know what you need to work on. But like I said, a lot of us need to do that. So thinking before reacting. I'm put myself in, and Naya, you hear, um, I don't know. I feel like so much of my filter has disappeared. Like, and if my face don't say it, my mouth will say it. But uh, when she and I were working together, it just got to a point where I would just make jokes because I didn't want to have to deal with the shenanigans that were going on in the office. Like, we had a girl that we were working with, and she was the oldest employee in our department at the company. And when I say this girl was as dingy as they come, or maybe she played dingy, I have no clue. But she was as dingy as they came. And she would just do stuff or have these outbursts. And it was just like, what is your problem? First off, you're like an old lady. Second, you've been here long enough where you should know certain things. Third, why when our manager first walks in, like she ain't even put her stuff down yet, you're already asking questions and you need help? Like, it makes no sense. And you start before everybody, so you should have had some kind of resolution with things. But the thing she would do would be like, oh my God, here we go. And it would just mess up everybody else's energy in the office because of her issues. So me thinking before acting, I would make jokes out of everything because I just didn't feel like dealing with it anymore. It just became one of those where it's like, it's either going to affect me negatively because it's like now you're pushing your emotions on everybody else, or I'm just going to have fun with the situation. And I mean, I guess that could be bullying. So maybe I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, that was how I would deal with it because it was just ridiculous after a while. Uh, it says to have a greater self awareness. Emotionally intelligent people are not only good at thinking about how other people might feel, but they are also I mean, you dealt with it firsthand with me, and my goodness, some of the jokes were top notch. I should have been a comedian in another lifetime, maybe. uh, but they are also able to adapt at understanding their own feelings. Self awareness allows people to consider the many different factors that contribute to their emotions. Yes, see, gotta work on that. Just dink, man. And she wasn't a blonde. She was very blonde. She was very blonde. It just, I don't know. It's like some people, they just don't make sense at all. Yeah, you did have to stop me a few times because, yeah. And then it didn't help that my face, or it was times where I would want to say something, and I could just look back at her and she knew everything that I wanted to say, and it would just be like, oh my God. And we had another colleague that, so we kind of sat in this like weird angle. Naya sat behind me, our other colleague sat right across from me, and it was just like we would ping pong off each other, and it was just bad. It was so bad for a lot of different reasons because it was just, and the three of us were just ridiculous because we spent so much time just like either laughing about the situation or trying to drown her out by having other conversations. Like, this is how bad it was. Christmas came and everybody is in the office. We're like, okay, let's just let go of the stress. It's the end of the year. Things are a little bit slower because people are taking off because it's the holiday time. Some of our companies that we dealt with were closing for, a Christmas break. Like literally they would have Christmas break and they'd be closed from either the day before Christmas Eve through to New Year, things like that. So it was a little slow. So of course management's like, well, let's just let them, enjoy their time at work. So they would do little potlucks, and we had one guy that brought in karaoke machine and he had Christmas music playing. I kid you not, this girl had the nerve to look and go, why are we listening to this? Bitch, if you don't shut your Grinch ass up and just enjoy the music so we can all enjoy the rest of our day and go home with a smile on our face. But I did not say that. I was just like, it's Christmas, have fun, and turn around and did my work because why are you being a Grinch right now? Like the rest of us are having a good time. Like, what is your problem? But no, yeah, she was a very interesting person to, yeah, give her good adjective on that one. Hmm. Hmm. So it says how to use emotional intelligence. I feel like some of these I do still need to work on. So different ways to practice emotional intelligence includes, and again, this is not, people always think, oh, I have to be, no, you can be empathetic towards people you don't know. You can be empathetic towards people you do know. And sometimes friendships, people think friends and they think, oh, you just automatically get along. Same way they think about relationships. That's not true. You're still two different people. It doesn't matter how well you get along. You're still two different people, and at times you're going to have different views on things. You're not going to always see eye to eye. You're not going to always agree on everything. But if you can, as I like to say, agree to disagree at times. Some people are so unhappy they want everyone else to feel the same. No, that's very true. There are some people that just, they don't have a happy bone in their body. Like, it's just one of those where they don't know how to be happy, and that is a sad realization in the world right now. It's a lot of people that are just completely unhappy, and they kind of suck at everything. So you have to, and it does take work every day that you wake up. Like me, there are days where I'm just like, I don't have it in me. When I do have it in me, but it's something that I have to work on. Work for. I guess that's the way I'm going to say it. You can't think, oh, it's just going to come easy. You just wake up and you're happy. No, it's something that you have to choose to do daily as soon as you wake up. I'm sure we all know a few people like that. And it is really sad. It's beyond sad, because it's like, why would you want to damper someone else's day because of how you're feeling? And even if you don't, but if somebody's telling you, hey, you're not being very nice right now, you can't just rip their head off because you're just in a effed up mood. And I think that's why I want to, and my therapist keeps telling me, well, that's not good to do. But when I'm like really in, as I like to call it, my gray day, I will disconnect, and I'm not trying to talk to people. I'm not, that hour nap turned into it's dark outside. My daughter finally made it, everyone. That's funny. She's the queen of naps. I want to go to college so I can take naps. But I will disconnect, and there are, I want to say, 3 people that notice when I disconnect. One of them is on here, and she knows who she is. They notice when I disconnect, and it's like, what's going on with you? Get it together, blah, 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 blah. And I do. It's like, if I'm having a great day, I don't want to dampen anybody else's day. I don't want to be a gray cloud over them. It's just, I need to be to myself. And sometimes it doesn't have to be with anything. Somebody did something to me. Sometimes it's just, I wake up and I'm not feeling my bubbly self. And it takes a lot to pull yourself out of the dark emotions that you're in. And it's a human feeling, and it's something you have to work on a daily basis. And it does take a lot of practice, because I have days where it's like, it'll be great, 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 great. And then it's like, what the hell am I doing? I have so much more going on that's good, that I'm allowing this emotion to literally physically affect me, because now it's like, oh, my head hurts. I can't sleep. I have, my stomach hurts. It's so many different things that are affecting me because I'm not here, present. And I can tell when I'm kind of starting to pull myself out of it, because I won't watch, like, my guilty pleasure when I'm just in those moments is I will watch the Gilmore Girls like crazy. I will watch Christmas movies. Oh my gosh, Christmas movies are my go-to, because it's like, it's something that, but I need that to kind of help pull me out of that gray area. It's like the sunshine facade, and it does kind of mask it like a band-aid or whatever, but I have to do what I have to do to get myself out of it. And sometimes it takes a lot of work, especially when I had to learn to not use drinking as, and not that I was an alcoholic, but It would be like, oh, I come home from work, I had a bad day. Oh, I want to drink. And I wouldn't have like a whole, well, I've had bottles of wine before, but those are on good nights. But I would come home and immediately I needed a glass of wine. That was so not healthy. And I was using that, like some people eat when they go through it. Some people work out even more than they have. It's everybody has something that they do and they can use, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. And sometimes people use good things in a negative way as well. So you have to look at what you're doing, look at your patterns, and really work to pull yourself out of it. And it does take, a lot of work. It does take a lot of mindful situations to pull you through it. And like with me, I am learning, certain boundaries as well for myself. I'm learning where, even with people I care about, where do I fit in with this boundary? Where do I need to place certain emotions and pull back in certain areas? Because, okay, maybe that's not healthy for me to feel that way, things like that. So that's a part of, learning the emotional intelligence. Sometimes, hey, Micah, sometimes it's hard. It is really hard to be emotionally intelligent all the time and aware of what's going on, because you do tend to get a little selfish sometimes. You're like, well, I've been doing this, and this person is still being like this. So what the hell? And then sometimes you have to realize that some people are just going to be the way that they are. And you might have to let it go. And while I tell people, my friends as well, friends, family, it doesn't matter, if you're close to me and we're talking about something, and yes, it hurts to let people go that you love. It's gonna hurt. And sometimes you have to let people that you love go because it may not be beneficial to you. And then sometimes it's one of those where it's just like, well, maybe I didn't nourish certain things. And me, it's like I am one of those exhausted until there are no more leaves on the tree. And that could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but at least I can say, okay, well, I did try. I didn't just give up because, it's like I heard, oh man, I saw this quote. I thought this was the most profound thing on the planet. And like I said, I don't post everything, but I do post a lot. But this was the most profound thing. It says, when people fall in love with someone's flowers, but not their roots, they don't know what to do when autumn comes. And when I first read it, I had to read it again. And then I read it again. And then I read it again. And you think about when, let's say, for instance, say you have kids. Mine is always sleep. Good day equals nap. Bad day equals nap, right? Okay. We're not going to. Thank you. Good job, kid. You're hilarious. Um, I thought I read it multiple times. Yeah, see, and that's me. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing sometimes, because it does. I'm one of those people, it like, I care. And sometimes I care too much. And sometimes I care where it affects me, where it's just like, okay, this is not healthy. This can't be good. What the hell am I doing? And I don't know if it's the way I was raised or, what, but I don't always want to be like that. And it does hurt when you cut people. I have friends, well, I can't say friends. I have people that I've let go that it's just like, man, I can't believe that it came to this. And sometimes a memory, pop up, or I'll be at a familiar place and it's like, oh, I remember when, I was here with, this person, and, we shared that, little thing. Or I'm going through, as my family likes to call, I have this box with memories in them, and they like to call it my cry box, because I generally, and it's like I can look through the same pictures and then another picture will pop up, and for whatever reason that one will strike, some emotional a tie, and now I'm crying again. I'm very sensitive. I am a big old baby and I don't care. But it is what it is. And yes, sometimes you do miss, certain people that you had to let go, but if they weren't good for you, they just weren't good for you. And it is what it is. So it's okay to grieve losing people that just weren't good for you. It's a natural thing. But you've got to practice handling those emotions as well. Yeah, that was a mouthful. That was a mouthful. But like I said, sometimes this is my therapy in between going to therapy. And I'm not abusing wine anymore. I don't just drink it just to drink it. But no, I needed this glass today. Yeah, it's been going through it. Man. So how do you use your emotional intelligence? There are, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. There are 9 different ways that they're saying, to use it on a daily basis. Being able, oh, you named the cry box? Oh, good job. My little jerk over there. I love you though. Being able to accept criticism and responsibility. I am a firm believer that yes, criticism is the hardest thing to accept. It doesn't matter because it's hard. No one wants to hear bad things about themselves. Point blank period. When people say, oh, I can, no, it's still a hard pill to swallow. And I am one of those people that is just like, I will hear a person's words and I'll keep thinking about it. And it's just like, well, dang. And then I start to reflect on experiences that I've gone through with somebody. So, and I only do this with people I care about. If I don't give a crap, like if you're just an associate, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to hit my heart the same way it would somebody that I have to deal with on a regular basis. Somebody that I care about, how they feel about me and how they perceive me and whatnot. So, but I am big on taking responsibility because it's like once I realize, okay, I'm going to, say something to you like, damn, that's my bad. I shouldn't have, done X, Y, and Z. I'm firm on that. Again, like I said, this is one up above that we talked about, but being able to move on after making a mistake, that's still a hard one for me because it's like I'm not gonna say obsessing over it, but I start thinking about it because it's like I don't want to do that. I don't like hurting people I care about. I just don't, and it makes me feel bad. Being able to say no when you need to. I'm getting better with that. I'm practicing that because sometimes I can't, even if I want to. Being able to share your feelings with others. I'm getting better, and I feel like I've got my circle now where it's just like I can share, you know, my feelings with people. And I have friends now. I think I've got really great friends. For those of y'all that are on here who are my friends, you can go ahead and co-sign that for me. um, Being able to solve problems in ways that work for everyone. Sometimes I think I'm doing that and it doesn't work out that way, and then I have to rethink the situation. But I try to think of ways, and sometimes I suck at it because it's like I think more about the other person than I do myself, and then I'm still working on that one because I do still get resentful when I start taking on more than I should sometimes, and I do need to get better with that. Having empathy for other people. Sometimes I have too much empathy and I need to just be a jerk like people, some people are, and just be a straight asshole. I think that's what I need to do. Having great listening skills. So, I'm going to give you a little tidbit that my therapist was working on with me when it comes to listening. So, a lot of times when we listen for what we want to hear. We don't listen to what the person is saying. And she was saying that when you're having a serious conversation with someone, one of the best ways to make sure that you've heard what they're saying is to repeat what they said back to them. And then say, so what you're saying is you don't like when I constantly interject when you're trying to say something to me. And then ask, how can I, you know, ask you a question or, do X, Y, and Z to where I'm not interrupting the flow of what you're saying and being rude, but I want to make sure that I'm understanding where you're coming from. Because sometimes you can be having the same conversation, but you're having two different understandings. And that, I think, is where arguments start. I could say the same sentence like, oh, I'm going to go to the store and get, milk and eggs. Do you need anything? It does. It takes a while to understand that, because you could have the same conversation. You could be having the same conversation and have two different understandings of that conversation. And that's where most people have their arguments, because you're not meshing on that. And it does take work, a lot of work, but it only works with people that really want to make it work. So yeah. Nothing is the one thing she did say that I really truly agree is everything is work. And when people say, oh, it shouldn't be this hard, well, why not? If it was that easy, everybody would be having it, everybody would be doing it. And it made me feel a little better, because it's just like, well, I got to do the work. So, yeah. um, Knowing why you do the things that you do. I'm going to take that one to a work situation. I had a manager slash mentor, and she to me was one of the most amazing people on the planet, because she would say, I don't care if you do certain things and it goes wrong. I just want you to be able to tell me why you did what you did. And if what you're saying makes sense, it's just like, okay, well, at least you tried. It just didn't work. And that to me was one of the biggest things that I carry, in my personal life and everything. You have to have a reason for why you're doing what you're doing. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Shit happens. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Make it work after that? Sometimes it just doesn't work. It can make all the sense in the world, but it still may not work out the way that you want it to work out. So I agree with that. Not being judgmental of others. I've gotten better with that. But I will still judge certain things, and I didn't realize that until I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was like, "Oh, I'm judgy." Now, certain things I will judge, like, yeah, I'm human. It is what it is. I know there's people out there judging me, and I don't care at this point. It is what it is. This is good wine. It doesn't tell me what it pairs well with, but I wonder if it's gonna taste good with some. This would be good with a good charcuterie board. Okay, let me stop, because I'm losing my train of thought again. So, are there downsides to emotional intelligence? Well, I mean, anything that's good is bad at the same time. Having lower emotional intelligence skills can lead to a number of potential pitfalls that can affect multiple areas. Oh, you're so sweet. A number of potential pitfalls that can affect multiple areas of life, including work and relationships. People who have fewer emotional skills tend to get into more arguments, have lower quality relationships, and have poor emotional coping skills. Being low on emotional intelligence can have a number of drawbacks, but having a very high level emotional skills can also come with challenges. For example, research suggests that people with high emotional intelligence may actually be less creative and innovative. Damn. Highly emotional intelligent people may have a hard time delivering negative feedback for fear of hurting other people's feelings. Research has found that high EQ can sometimes be used for manipulative and deceptive purposes. Wow. When there's good, there's bad. So, I mean, it can work both ways. I saw this TikTok the other day, and the girl was saying a lot of women are now walking around with, I think she called it good girl syndrome. And it's basically where you have this, you were raised to be, a nice person, kind, pleasant, things like that. And you tend to want to please others more than you do yourself. And it only kind of affected me because I don't want to put all my business in the street. But my grandmother was, one of those people. She didn't really like to ruffle feathers at all. And she, being raised in a more conservative Christian environment, it was kind of the same way. You're seen, not heard, things like that. And it's a lot of that I'm trying to deprogram out my head. Not that she was an amazing person, amazing, love her, hands down. But there were certain things that I just, it doesn't fit well for me. And it sucks because it's just like you think about how, and I think that comes along with emotional intelligence. You think about how, the people that were raising us were, and they projected how, they were brought up onto us. And then you have to go and relearn a whole new set of what's healthy and what's not. So it's one of those situations. But I think we all got some kind of story where we can be like, yeah, I had to deal with this, or I dealt with that, and this happened. And it's crazy what we go through. And they say millennials, we're the ones that are going through it the most because we're trying to heal ourselves, raise our kids, things like that. And it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. So we're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna come out on the other side a lot better people. What are some ways to improve emotional intelligence? One, you want to listen. You want to understand what other people are feeling. And the first step is to pay attention. Taking the time, listen to what they're saying, repeating back what they're saying. It may feel weird at first, but it's just like working out. It felt weird, doing a thing. You're self-conscious. You're worried about how people are thinking. But after a while, you're like, AirPods, let's get this going. So don't worry about that. And body language is the biggest giveaway. No matter how uncomfortable somebody is, they're going to give you telltale signs when something's bothering with, something's bothering them. Empathizing. I feel like that. I think I've said it on another episode. I am the biggest empath on the planet. And I think people get that misconstrued, sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is it's like you've been through it. So you know how that person is feeling. So therefore you're more open to, feeling some type of emotion towards it. Empathy is where you don't have to go through a situation, but it affects you in a way where it's just like, man, that's harsh. I wouldn't, want somebody to feel like that. So you're emotionally tied to wanting to be drawn to them and help them, things like that. So I think people sometimes don't understand the difference between sympathy and empathy, and that's my problem. I have too much empathy for people at times, and people that don't deserve it. So yeah, I got to get better with that one. But knowing yourself, like I said, getting better with that is a critical thing with that. And reflect. The ability to reason with emotions is as important part of emotional intelligence. Consider how your own emotions influence your decisions and behaviors when you're thinking about and how you respond to others. Assess the role that their emotions play. I do agree with that. That's a big one. Reflection, because it's like, especially when I know I've let myself get to that point where it's just like, why did I let this affect me the way that I did? What was the the final straw that was just like, okay, now I'm completely triggered and I've lost control. And I think the biggest thing is not to place blame, but to, look at yourself and say, okay, well, what caused that? Because a lot of people think, oh, therapy is, there's like a misconception with therapy. Oh, I'm going to therapy because my parent abandoned me. And it's just like, no. A lot of people don't realize what they need to work out in therapy until they've gone through something and how it affects them. And sometimes you may not be triggered until something else happens. And sometimes you're triggered for the rest of your life because you may have gone through a traumatic situation. Like with me, I went through, man, when was that? In 2006. Dang, that was a while ago. And every now and then, I mean, I've gotten better with it. But in 2006, I got into a car accident and I rolled off the embankment of if you're from California, you know where this is, the 91 freeway at the Valley View and Orange Grove exit. And the car flipped 5 times. I survived, but there was a lot of, physical damage. Of course, the car was totaled, but I survived. But it was just one of those where it was just like, okay, this wasn't good. I didn't want to drive the freeway for years. It took me a long time to actually drive again. It wasn't until I met my spouse that I felt comfortable enough to drive again. And it wasn't that it was one of those where, and it wasn't like, oh, you got to drive the freeway. It wasn't anything like that. It was one of those where it's like, okay, you can do it. Or you want to drive, and I would drive surface streets, or I would ride with other people when it came to getting on the freeway. Like if it was somewhere where we had to get on the freeway, I wouldn't drive. I wouldn't do it at all. But he gave me this comfort and reassurance that I could do it again. So I didn't mind doing it. And it's so funny because there are times where I'm on the 91, because I take the 91 a lot to get to, quite a few places that I go. And there are times where I'm like literally at that intersection on the freeway, and it's just like, dang, I'm really on the freeway. And it's a surreal situation because it's just like, man, I had to, really go through such an emotional thing. And sometimes it does, or there are times where I have people comment on my video, oh, how'd you get the knot on your forehead? Or people in person will still ask me. And it's just like, do I tell the story? Do I not tell the story? And sometimes it does get emotional because it's just like, okay, look, got into an accident, came out with a parting gift, still have my life. It is what it is. But, it's, you don't realize what you're going through or how things affect you until you're going through something else. So that was my lighthearted story on how, why people should go to therapy. And everybody, to me, needs a little bit of therapy because we were all raised by people who were probably trying their best, and, they did what they could. And sometimes their best wasn't the best for you and who you are as a person and who you want to be as a person. So you really do have to go through and get certain things out. So it's not a problem. Because I used to have that same misconception. I think that's the biggest thing, especially in the African American community, is therapy is not, it's for crazy people, but it's not. And I didn't want to go at first because it was just like, well, I'm not crazy, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, well, it wasn't about that. And then when I finally started accepting it as something that it's a healing situation, it became bigger than that. But again, all within that emotional intelligence situation. So I feel like reflection is a big thing. And once you realize that you do need to go through those situations and they make you who you are as a person, you become a better person. But I hope that I help somebody today, with getting through some things, because, we all want to be better. We all want to be better. And I don't know. I'm gonna have a drink after that. That was a lot. And I got a little emotional. But thank you to everyone for joining me tonight. I'm so happy that you did after a 2-week break. Man, it's just been busy. I saw the Barbie movie on Monday, guys. And when I say absolutely such a good movie, such a good movie, but I need, if you're going to go see it, go into it with an open mind. It's not what you think it is, and it really was such a great movie, and the emotions that are attached to it are just a beautiful thing. So 10 out of 10 recommend. So busy late. No, it has been crazy, but and see, it's so funny you say that, because I kept telling myself, I'm just so busy, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and I wasn't making time for myself. It's like I'm just keeping going, and it's just like, okay, I need to take time for myself. I went to see that movie by myself. I took myself on a date because I needed to do it for myself, and it was a good thing. So definitely, date yourself. Date yourself, have a good time, be emotionally intelligent, emotionally aware of what's going on. Go to therapy. I am a big advocate for that. I'm actually hungry now, so I'm probably gonna eat some dinner. Oh, I cooked tonight, y'all. I made dinner. So I am very proud of myself for that. And I worked today. Shoot, look at me. I am super woman today. And I'm gonna have another glass of wine. But I hope you all have a good night. And before I sign off, go ahead, like the video, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. All that good stuff. All my social medias at Yana's Wine Corner on everything that I have, that there is. TikTok, Instagram, of course YouTube, Threads, Twitter. I don't know what. Oh, Pinterest. Yes. Oh my gosh, y'all. I am obsessed with Pinterest, and this is just, it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, I spend more time on Pinterest than I do. And I got boards for stuff, like recipes that I ain't never got to yet, but eventually I'm going to cook something on there. Yeah, my dog is trying to breathe. Yeah. He's struggling. But he's cute. But yeah, go ahead, like the video. I will see you guys next week. I promise I won't take off 2 weeks again. It's just, life has been lifing. But I will be back next week. New bottle of wine, new topic. Not in a funk, and I'm putting out content. So if you haven't seen my last videos, go ahead and make sure you check them out. And yeah. I'll see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.